So the next part of this process is we're going to do what's called tinning the edge of this. This is how we're going to cover this and finish the edge of this heart. We're going to cover the edge of the heart with solder. Now that we can put solder on this edge, but we will never be able to make this edge look like these rounded solder lines. There's just not enough material on the edge to build that up. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by putting flux over this edge of the heart with copper foil. And if you did have some of this solder come out onto the edge, you can just melt that off and these little balls will form, and we can pick those up and utilize them and all to tin the edge. We'll just kind of run that over the edge of the copper foil, and it will just put a nice thin coat of solder over that copper. Now that's the first step of this, is just getting a nice thin coat. And we just want to coat that, and then next we want to build up some thickness onto the edge. And to do that, you have to try to keep this this project somewhat horizontal to the ground, and then you just kind of tap that solder on to the piece, and you're really just trying to manage it as it drips. And also you always want to work away from you so you're not working over your hand. So what I'll do is I'll turn it this way and work this way and get more solder built up that way. Then I will turn it around, hold it here, and add some out this way. Okay, so next, once I feel that I've got enough built up over that, I will flux this side. Use my soldering iron to, again, put a thin coat of solder onto the copper. And once it's completely coated, there's no copper showing, what I'll do is take some off the spool and then just kind of use these little drops to build up the solder on the edge. Turn this around. There we go. So now I've got the edge tinned, and then the last piece of this is putting a ring onto this. And typically the instructor will do this for you, or you can give it a shot. It's pretty tricky. What I do is I hold the ring, a copper ring, with a pair of needle nose pliers. I'll put flux on here, onto the ring, and I'll put flux onto the project where I'm going to connect that. That's right there at the center of the heart. I'm going to take the soldering iron, I'm going to heat up this ring first. And so what I'm going to do is get this nice and hot, because I don't want it to be cold when I try to solder it, because the copper ring is such a good conductor. It will absorb all the heat, and then the solder won't stick to it. So I want to get that hot. It just takes a minute or so. Once it's hot, what I'll do is place that in place, get a little solder and just try to hold that still and touch that like that. Now I can use my roll of solder and just add more solder onto it. Maybe a little bit more flux to help it stick. There. Flip it over. Get this back side. There we go. Go one more time. There we go. So now we have our finished heart with it, the edge tinned, all the lines done, and